Good evening, everybody. I am Shelly B, a conservative Black sister surviving in a hot mess world. And tonight's hot mess is this young lady on Pop the Balloon that refused to reveal her age, and then none of the guys wanted to date her. It was very interesting. But first, before we get into this video, like, share, and subscribe, please. Doesn't take much effort. Just click subscribe, like it, share it. If anybody is out there that you feel can, you know, utilize the information that I have to give on my channel. Okay, so tonight I just decided to pick something much more lighthearted, and I came across this video by Abba and Preach. They're two comedians, and it really made me kiki. And I watched a few of their videos, but I picked this one specifically because this girl on here, she didn't want to reveal her age, and I just felt that a lot of women do this, and it's really stupid, honestly, because I feel like in a relationship, no matter how new it is, your age is like really important. And I just feel like it just shows a bit of insecurity, and it's kind of dishonest. And I just like to watch things from a man's perspective because I just tend to think that women are really delusional when it comes to what men think about things. And, we try to project what we think onto men, and we just don't think anything the same at all. So I'm just always trying to get us to elevate our frequencies, you understand? And you can do this when you listen to a man's perspective, even though a lot of times we don't want to listen to what men have to say, but I think it's very important to do that if you would like one. So let's watch this video because I thought it was pretty funny. And, it's so much negativity going on, out here. And, I had a list of things, and it was all like, I didn't really want to be bothered because it was just, I wanted to, talk about something much more lighthearted. And this was really funny. And I like these two guys. This is the first time I've seen their video. And I had never even heard of them. But they have a large following, 2 million subscribers. And I thought they were really funny, and it was just something lighthearted. And I liked the way they play off each other. And it was really funny. So let's look at this. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's look. Oh, let me make this a little bigger.
All right, we got an episode of Pop the Balloon. All right, I actually enjoy these. Shout out to Arlette. She does a great job with these, and she's the first one I saw doing this thing.
Arlette, oh, that's the host?
Yeah, Mrs. Amuli.
Yeah, it's on Netflix now. I was very proud of her for this, and it was a very creative idea. Now everybody's done copied it and stuff, but it's on Netflix now. So I was really, proud of her for that.
So let's take a look at this video. We're just gonna look at the first contestant because I thought she was funny.
Let's go ahead and bring out our first single lady. Hello, welcome. We'll have you hold that. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Driva.
Driva. Okay, how old are you?
I'm above 30.
Okay. Above 30, you should be proud
Yes,
of that.
I'm above 30.
Okay.
Exactly. Like whatever age you are, you should be proud of it because, you're alive. I'm 54 years old, and I'm proud of it because I think I look good, and I'm happy for all of the life experiences I have had. You know what I'm saying? So I never understood why women act like that about their age. Like if you're afraid to say your age, then we already know that you're on the the higher side of 30. So you might as well just say your age. You understand? It just doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I don't understand it.
Okay. And what do you do?
So I'm a podcaster of We Like It Hot podcast. I own Beach 7 Hair, and I'm a UGC creator.
Okay. Do you know this? But I don't know what it is with a lot of these like black dating shows, but everyone's got 7 jobs.
Well, the show is in the States, and the hustle culture within the black community is very strong.
Okay. How many jobs you got?
I'm a creator.
Hey, I got one. Start listing them off. Stop being humble.
No, I got no.
Don't be a humble king. Don't do that.
It's not a humble king.
Okay.
It's not a humble king thing. It's I create. I love to create.
How about you create some space so I could get my shit off? All right. So first off, I'm a dancer, entertainer, comedian, podcaster, video editor, business owner, entrepreneur, business manager. I employ people. I also work old people's home. I take care of my mom. And I babysit. I
Say that
babysit.
you manage your own people home, but the only old person there is your mom is crazy.
There's a home I own. She lives in it. She's old. I manage an old people's home. I babysit. I hang out with my niece 3 hours times 3 a week, 9 hours.
Like a better question to ask is, what do you do for a living? What earns your living? Because then that's usually one thing.
I do charity work, and by charity work, I walk outside, take public transport and shit, show myself to the peasants in the society. What can I say, man? I wear a lot of different hats, and we out here.
But if Abba was
In case anybody cares, I'm a hairstylist and I work in the film industry. That's what I do. I have a whole bunch of other things I do, but that's what pays my bills.
the dating show, this would be him. So tell us what you do. I'm a video editor. That would be you.
That's true.
100% you. All this shit right there.
Very true.
That's the first time I hear you list all that shit.
And now, what do you look for in a man?
So what I look for in a man is someone who knows himself and is someone who is consistent and someone who will value me.
Okay. So, what are some of your deal breakers?
I hate
Deal
what she
breakers.
has on.
Honestly, just someone who's not gonna who's not gonna put me as a priority.
Okay.
Like I just need someone who's gonna
She said someone that's not going to put me as a priority. Then that's exactly what you're going to get.
put me as a priority.
Got it. Okay.
Like
okay.
you can have a kid just as long as I'm a priority.
Well, that example was weird.
It was very
So I guess
weird.
she wants to be the priority over the kid, or maybe she just wants to be. That's interesting.
This is why I was undateable for many years, because I just could not put a man over my child. I just couldn't do it. I still can't do it. I would never do that. So any person that comes into your life and you have kids is asking to be a priority. That's just a crazy thing to ask somebody that's a parent, because it's just never going to happen. And why would you want them to put you over their kids? Even though there are people that do it, I guess, but I just wouldn't do it.
You popping the balloon?
Oh,
If you had a kid, you pop in?
Oh, for
even if
sure.
I don't have a kid, that's weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
That is weird. If I don't have a kid now, and I'd be looking at her like, that statement was wild.
That was definitely past
If
trauma.
even if you wait, even if you have a kid, I don't have to substitute shit. It's my kid, and it's a kid. It can't just be on itself. You're a grown ass woman. You could be no. I don't have to.
Well,
substitute
you know what
shit.
God says? You put your wife above your children.
When did he say that?
I'm almost certain that's a thing.
Look for it.
Okay. Wives. So this is Ephesians 5:22-24.
If it's yeah,
All right. Yo, Ephesians. I'm not gonna lie, man.
if it's yeah.
Bible chapters, books got cool names, okay? Odysseus 34:75. All right, here we go. Wives, submit yourselves unto your husbands as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body. So therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be unto their husbands in everything.
Now, women got a problem with this. They do not like a man to lead. And I can understand why a lot don't, because a lot of men are not leaders. And we've had this discussion before. But I feel like that's not the scripture that he was looking for. When they get married, forsaking all others and all that, and you really are supposed to, because the husband is the head and you're supposed to put, him first and then yourself, then the kids and all, that order like that. Which I don't see anything wrong with that if you have a good leader. If you're not taking care of your husband and yourself, then what kind of parents are you going to be? So that's why it's in that order. You understand? So it's like God, your husband, the wife and the husband's relationship, and then the relationship with your children. Makes sense to me. You understand? But a lot of women will not submit yourselves. Like I said, submit yourselves to your own husbands. Your own husbands, not somebody else's husband, your own husband. And I just feel like, women are not conditioned in submitting. You understand? And like I said, I do understand it. You only want to submit to somebody that you trust is going to lead you in the right direction. But that's where God comes in discernment, in choosing right in the first place. And we've all chosen wrong. Trust me. So, we just have to work on that, all of us, and elevate our frequency. I feel like we will get on the highest frequency if we put God first and pray for discernment.
To put it another way, if the wife is under the headship of her husband, then her care for her children is really on his behalf and under his direction. That's a bar. I think, and I've seen a lot of people who preach this stuff that say, spouses should prioritize each other.
Okay, I love that shit.
Yeah, I think spouses.
Thanks for that.
Doesn't that make sense? Spouses should prioritize each other, because if your relationship is a mess, then you're going to project that onto your kids. And we see it all the time in relationships with divorce, or, you have parents that are really like argumentative and have this nasty relationship together. You're just going to spawn kids that going to be dysfunctional in a mess like that. So it is very important that relationship with with God, the husband and the wife is in good working order. Before you have kids, I would say, you know what I mean? I feel like you have to constantly work on that.
No worries. I'm about to get a visit from Ruslan.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep that.
Yeah, thank you very much, brother. You be reading the word of the Lord
during Ramadan too. It's crazy. All right, let's not cause any drama. Let's continue this video.
Riva, so I'm gonna go ahead and have you ask these guys a question, just to kind of help you, narrow down, see who is more your type, all that good stuff.
Okay, who has kids?
Is that a deal breaker for you?
No, it's
yes.
Because
yes.
Now, in the beginning, she said you could have a kid, but then now she seemed like she's struggling with, them having kids. And now let me tell you something. I had my child at 40 years old, and I did not like to be bothered with men that had kids. You understand? Until I got much older, I would say until I got, in my late 30s, because I dated a man that had kids, and then I ended up having a kid with him. I didn't think I could have kids at that point. I probably would have, not chose him, honestly, but, I would not change anything though, because I really love the child that I have with him and everything like that. So I wouldn't do anything different, but you know what I'm saying? I can understand why people don't deal with people that have kids, because it did cause a problem in our relationship. His ex-wife and the kids and the this and that. I didn't want to marry him because, the state that I was in, I would have to pay more for his kids. Now I just couldn't be bothered. It just wore me out completely. It just wasn't the move for me. I still don't really like men with young kids. You understand? They have to be my child's age or older. I can't do that, because it's still too fresh with the baby mama and all that stuff. You need years to work that out. Yeah, I can't be bothered with the baby mama drama.
Not that. Yes, it is.
Let's find out.
Is that a deal breaker for you?
No, it's because you guys have priorities above me. Yeah, just pop your balloon. If you got kids, pop.
But listen, even if men don't have kids, this is how dumb some women are though. Even if men don't have kids, they're still going to have priorities that are over you, because most women want some rich, successful man or some type of entrepreneur, and his priorities over you is going to be his business, keeping things in working order, and whatever else, that he may be doing, you know what I mean, to earn a living. You know what I mean? If he's putting you ahead of his business, then he won't have any money. So it doesn't make any sense. You understand? I don't understand that way of thinking.
Just pop it. Okay.
Let's go over to those guys. All right, if we can have your name and age.
My name is Priest. I'm 33.
Okay. Priest, what do you do?
I'm a comedian.
Okay.
I love a comedian.
So we see you pause for the
yes. That fucking Saucy Santana shake.
She did
Both
it.
these
She
guys
was
are
it.
comedians.
Yes. Yes.
Why are you doing so well? Why do you do it?
My job as a comedian my job is to fucking watch people and see how they act. No, they shit. Yeah. Yo, she the most.
Okay.
I love a
He
comedian.
said
So we
she's
see
the
you pause
most.
for the kids. How many kids?
So would you like bacon? Oh my God, I love bacon.
The little one's
Okay, let's head over
hilarious.
here. Your name and age.
My name is Brian. I'm
40.
We've seen Brian before.
Oh yeah, he's the one from the ghetto.
I'm not a surface level dating type of guy, right? I don't really care about your past. I'm from the ghetto. I'm from New Orleans, right?
Okay, he said it 7 times. Yeah, Louisiana.
Louisianimal.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm from the ghetto.
yeah.
I'm a nerd, but I also like to read. But I like to go out.
I like to read. I'm from the ghetto, but I am a nerd. I like to go lounges, right? I like to go to museums.
I like to shoot guns.
Listen, I'm surprised nobody popped on him because he's weird. Sorry, he is weird.
But I like to make peace. I like to have sex, but I love to be a virgin.
Yes, that was the.
I love debt, but I love being rich. I'm from the ghetto. We make bad decisions. I don't judge. How many babies you got? How many baby daddies?
That was that dude.
Social media?
Social media agent, yes.
Okay, how many kids you have?
I have 2.
How many baby daddies?
2.
2? Okay. So you didn't think after the first one that you wanted to marry the next one?
Oh shit.
My name is Brian, and Brian is from the ghetto. I'm speaking in the third person, but I'm the first man. I'm a complicated individual. I'm country, but I live in the city.
Oh my God, your country.
Brian, what do you do?
I'm an aircraft mechanic for a major airline in Houston. So I just came out here to meet you. I had to pop because I do have a daughter. She's 19. Okay. Do you have any kids?
No.
Okay. How old are you?
Above 30.
Above 30?
Mm-hmm.
You're not confident in it?
I'm waiting for my husband to have a kid.
Okay.
She said she above.
Above 30. You're like,
Wait,
say
what?
your
That's so
age.
dumb.
You're asking all these men their age. You can't even say yours. Like it's a problem. You have all these barriers and these judgments about people and their kids and their age. Oh, he's too old. And you're above 30. That gives
That's true because she asked every one of them their age and didn't want a guy with kids, but then she can't divulge her age. That was weird.
me that you're like 36.
Yeah.
You're 36.
So wait, do you want to meet a guy in his like early 30s? Is that what this is? You want to meet a guy like 5, 6 younger?
Yo,
I mean, she can.
bro.
I don't even mind if she want to meet a dude the same way dudes want to meet a young girl. That's fine. But why don't you just say your age? Why you lying?
C'est ça là. Juste dis ton âge là. Just say your age. Say your age. Say your
Hold up.
age.
Let's see that again.
How old are you?
Above 30.
Above 30?
Mm-hmm.
You're not confident in it?
I'm waiting for my husband to have a kid.
Okay.
Because I didn't tell my age, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you asked everybody they fucking age and disqualified them for it.
Yeah.
Why don't you say your age, weirdo?
Nah, you're a weirdo.
Yeah, you are weird. That's off.
How much you make? How much you make? You know.
A lady never describes her income.
That's fine. That's okay. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool.
I think you got to be confident.
So she's feeling cracked because none of the guys wanted to date her. They all popped their balloon, and that's hilarious.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter how old you are.
To our pop balloons over here, if we
You
can
don't
have
have
your name and age.
Absolutely. My name is Demetrius, and I'm 36
what she's
years
wearing.
old.
And Demetrius, what do you do?
I am a talent acquisition, so staffing or recruiter.
Okay, very nice.
See, when I hear someone talk like that, I feel like they work in a professional world.
Yeah.
Very simple title. Describe what it is. Move the fuck on.
HR.
Whenever I hear somebody tell me they got 5 jobs, I'm like, you're unemployed. Or it just sounds a complicated way of saying you broke or not making much money. You're ashamed of whatever you do make.
It says that to me too. It says exactly that to me too.
So you got to compensate by saying all this extra shit. That's what I always think when someone lists 4 or 5 things. That's me personally, though. Or when I hear someone's an entrepreneur, I feel like I hear so many people. All right, well, what's the name of your LLC? Oh, you don't have.
My S corp is the Freedom From Corporation. Are you free?
one. How many people do you employ? 0. Okay, what's your gross income? We're in the develop. I don't know. There's like a proliferation of people who call themselves entrepreneur because they have a business idea.
Now, I don't think anybody needs to know your income and be that, intimate about your business until you're well established with them and stuff like that, because that's really not anybody's business, really, honestly. If you like somebody, you like them, no matter what they have. I feel like people do shit the opposite way. You understand? Like, you're judging somebody on how much they earn, but most of the time the women do not make nowhere close to the men. You know, not that you really have to, but it's like you're expecting more from them than you can give. You know, I have a son, and I tell everybody all the time, I have a son, so shit like this matters to me, and I like to know what he's facing so I could prepare him for this foolishness. And the younger the women are, the more ignorant they are, and it's like the generations just get worse and worse and worse, the pool of women, to the point where men don't even want to date them at all. You know, like this girl, nobody wanted to date her.
And they've bought a course. It's like, God damn, you haven't even dipped your toes in yet, and you calling yourself a professional swimmer?
Bar.
And now, why did you end up popping your balloon?
Exactly what he said. I hate to say the lack of confidence in expressing the age.
Okay.
We all over 30 over on the stage. We don't mind you being over 30. We don't mind you being 40. We came on the show to make sure that we find somebody that we connect with, and just being honest and just open up front matters to men.
It's like you start a conversation.
Yes.
Did you hear that, ladies? The men are saying that being open up front matters. You understand? I mean, a lot of women, they expecting everything from a man what they are not willing to do. That's why I say, if we're going to elevate our frequencies, we cannot be delusional, okay? Women come with false eyelashes, weave, nails, BBLs, anything that they can put on, fake boobs, everything. And then they want this honest, sincere, truthful man. And it's like, come on. You know what I mean? Like, you have to exude what you want. It's like you're going to get what you are. If you're delusional and you're not real, you're going to attract somebody just like that. That's why I'm saying elevate the frequency, because you're just going to keep getting the same kind of person that you are, that's on your frequency. A lot of people don't want to hear that, and they're in Delulu land thinking that they're going to meet this amazing person, when their frequency's down here and the person they want is way up there. It just doesn't work like that. I had to learn that. I had to learn that. And I feel like it would be like much more balanced if, women could, get on the frequency of what they desire. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. And then you do have to do the work. I'm sorry.
Relationship, and then you're being vague.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, the point we are right now, I'm trying to know you, and you can't even disclose your age. That's the tip of the iceberg. That's nothing. That's beginning. That's hi, how are you? I don't know how I'm feeling. That's weird. Yep. That's the beginning stage. Like, what else are you gonna
that is like the next thing after when you meet somebody. Oh, hi, my name is Shelly. Oh, nice to meet you, whatever. And then you get into a conversation with them and you feel your vibe, and you're gonna say, well, how old are you? Because you're just, it's just, you just want to see if you're in each other's realm as far as age. You understand? To me, it's like the most, the question that is the most readily said when you meet somebody and go on a date or whatever is, how old are you? What is your name? How old are you? Like, what else do you ask at first, because you're asking the age to see if you're in the age range, to see if you're going to have that compatibility. And a lot of women, they don't want to admit their age. I don't know why.
be afraid of? Nah, B.
Other than that, you're very gorgeous and driven, and I like that.
Thank you.
And now is Demetrius someone that's your type?
How she's standing, everything is just weird. And the dress, I hate it. It's just, I don't.
And now is Demetrius.
Look, a lot of these girls, when they come on here, I don't know why they look like this. Every once in a while, you'll see like a really classically dressed girl or whatever. I feel like the men look a lot better than the women on this show for some reason. I don't know why that is. Like, women think, oh, let me wear, I don't know. I'm old. I think that looks slutty. I don't like her shoes. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Someone that's your type?
I think she's gonna say no, because I think she's getting salty. You can see her body language, all that happiness that she had earlier.
Exactly. Like, I thought her body language was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Let me shut up.
Fading.
How old did you say you were?
36.
36. I would actually have to get to know you a little bit more.
Past
what you just
Now
told
she asked him the age. She don't want to give her age, but his age is the reason why she want to get to know him more. Okay, well, that's why you're there. Ask him the questions that you need to ask to get to know him. I feel like a lot of young people have no social skills. I don't know. I don't know. I think because they talk to people on social media, and then when they're present, they don't have any social skills. I don't know. I'm old school. I'm older, much older than these girls, and I just, I will hope my son can find a better group of women to pull from than the ones I see on this show.
me.
And you still went there. Yo, you have the audacity to still go and ask about people's age when you can't even disclose yours. And then be like, 36, I don't know, I'd have to know you a bit more. Yo.
She got to be the goofiest broad I've seen on the show.
Yo, she goofy, she don't even know it.
Well, these two guys don't like
so
her.
we did get another
None
pop
of
over
these
here. If
guys
we can
do.
have your name and age.
I think everybody popped.
Yeah, my girl, at the age that you are,
In the place that you live.
finding a man
He said the
above 35 with no kids.
Who wants somebody above 35 like you?
I mean,
Exactly. That's why I said I didn't start dating men that had kids till I got past 35 or so, like that. You know, I just didn't like them. I didn't like guys with kids. It's too much.
someone that don't want to deal with their kids, you setting up yourself to be alone for a long time.
What do you mean she gonna be alone? She got her podcast. You never just looked at a mic and be like,
I'm so lonely. But I'm glad I got you.
And that's the thing. A lot of people live their lives to, for social media and followers and likes and all that. But it's just a false sense of importance because none of this really matters. When you die, most of these people are not going to give two shits. They're going to move on to the next thing. It's just, but that's the world we live in. Like I said, I'm older. I come from a reality before, the internet and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I remember before social media. I remember before cell phones. I feel like we're a unique Generation X, because we have experiences that a lot of people did not have. You know what I'm saying? So, it's exhausting to think about it, but everybody to me is so fake. They have like these personas on the internet, but they're just not who they are. Like this girl, I guess she has the podcast or whatever, but in person, she lacked luster. She didn't have any charisma. None of the guys wanted to date her. And the three that had kids, she didn't want them. Maybe she would have fared better with them, but I don't think they would have wanted her either because they can't prioritize her the way she wants to. So it's just dumb to me. It's dumb. A lot of pretending. Hi, Dave. How are you? Yeah, it's a lot of pretending. A lot of people are fake out here, And like I said, I have a son, so I'm always looking at things like this, and paying attention to what guys say because I'm not a man. You understand? So women try to really think like they can think like a man. You know what I mean? Bye, Dave. A lot of women try to, like I said, they try to think like a man and try to act like they know what a man thinks and stuff, and we just don't, And then even when they do tell you, a lot of women don't want to accept what they're told. So, that's the dilemma.
You good?
Some days are tough. No. Be honest. Should I be trying to be funny? Some days are hard.
Sorry.
It was good to have something to laugh at because I'm going over this list of stuff and I'm just like, oh, all this stuff is so heavy. China, Ukraine and Russia was a story, because Donald Trump was like, listen, I'm not going to have nothing to do with y'all ass. And, you know, y'all can fight that war on your own, which I was overjoyed to hear that. Now, if he would leave NATO, that would be great. Those are all things I was going to talk about. Different things I had on my list about Carmelo Anthony and it was all so negative. And I was like, you know, and I just happened to come across these guys and I was laughing at them. There was another video that I watched that I thought was really funny too. About a girl that was just annoying to everybody, even the host. And, you know, some women just think their value is just more than what it is. And they just can't perceive themselves and they don't see how off-putting they are, you know? So.
You know?
All right. Thank you.
I just want to preface that.
Go
Like
ahead.
this whole no kids thing. Y'all, I just got out of a 2-year thing with somebody with kids that like never put me.
No.
Hold on. What did I say? I said this sounds like it comes from trauma. I said that at the beginning. You can see the way she prioritized it.
But see, this is the problem. Okay, whatever you go through in your life, and I've always kind of been like this, but like whatever you go through in your life, everybody is different. You understand? You can't just think that everybody is going to be the same. Everybody's an individual. 2, if you were with somebody for 2 years and you weren't really liking how it was going, that's on you because you didn't elevate your frequency enough to get away from them. You understand? Because clearly you're on the frequency you're supposed to be on. If you get somebody like that and you stay with them, you understand? That's where you probably needed to be until you elevate your frequency out of the situation, you know, or maybe the other person might elevate their frequency away from you. You understand? So that's how that works. So, I mean, I feel like women need to really get it together in this
It's
way.
a lived experience. And what happens is, see, this is a problem with people. They have an experience. Like, they date one Asian person. The Asian person does them dirty. I can't date Asian people anymore. Like, what?
Is your name is Steve? Oh, my ex was a Steve.
Yeah. Oh, a Capricorn? I just, your energy. Well, I'm a Leo. Well, she got hurt when everyone popped their balloon because you have to imagine, right? When she came out, nobody popped. That means everyone looked at her and they're like, we're interested. It's when she started yapping that they were like, ooh. And that's a different kind of a blow because
a lot of men say that too, that they like a woman until they talk to them and then they see they're ignorant or ghetto or whatever the case may be. And sometimes it's better if you listen and don't say anything. You know, like I learned in debate, like when somebody's talking, to really listen. Like you're not just responding. You're not just responding to respond. You're really listening to what the person is saying and then you respond. It's like you listen, you process, respond. I mean, I've even take notes when I'm talking to people, like even in relationships, boyfriends, whatever. I listen, I hear what they're saying, and I take notes so I don't forget what I might want to say. That way I don't have to argue with him because I really don't like arguing. I can't stand a nag. You understand? I can't stand somebody like to keep an argument going or whatever. Like I'll just let them say what they're going to say and I'll take my little notes and whatnot. And then I'll go back and ask the questions that I had, like kind of let them talk their self out and whatnot. And then I'll ask my questions, you know. A lot of times this makes people angry because they really want you to argue with them. You understand? And I just run from my life from people like that because it's just too much. You know, I've been there and done that. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I just don't choose to be on a frequency with anybody like that.
Even when she was popping people's balloons, she was happy. Ooh.
And they were still, they were like, whatever, it's cool.
Until she kept yapping. And then everyone's like, no, you're doing too much. So you can see how people play themselves. They carry the trauma from their past relationships into everything going forward. And then
that's the thing. That's part of doing your work and elevating your frequency is to let go of the past and judge everybody on everybody's separate. You understand? You know, I've been done dirty by a lot of people, you know, but I've been treated lovely by people. Some relationships you get in, like I say all the time, when you get in relationships, it's for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. You know, some people are just there to teach you a lesson. Some people are there and you might have a joyous, great time with them for a couple months, you know, for a season and they're gone. You know, it might just be to elevate your frequency in some way or whatever. And then there's some people that are for a lifetime. And those are the really rare people that you encounter in life. So if you go into relationships knowing that most of the people that are going to come through are just for a reason and a season, a lesson to be learned or whatever, you won't be so distraught when it doesn't work out the way you expect it. I see what a lot of my friends do. It's like every man they meet, they think it's going to be their husband, and they putting all this pressure on a new relationship and everything like that. Just go with the flow and see, where it goes. And, I damn sure don't want all of that pressure. You know what I'm saying? Just take it a day at a time, a moment at a time, and see what happens. You understand? A lot of women, I feel like they put a lot of pressure on a man, and that make him want to run away. Like, oh, well, you got to take care of my kids, and oh, this and that. And they're just like, they run for their lives. I wouldn't blame him. I would never tell my son to be with somebody like that. So I like this video because it was a lighthearted way of showing women that sometimes you probably could stop talking. Maybe guys that have kids are not that bad. It's at the age that she's at, like they're saying. My mother told me the same thing. Oh, you're not going to meet guys hardly with any kids now at this stage. You understand? And she was right. You understand? And I probably wouldn't have had my son if it wasn't for, I got with a guy that had kids. He was married before and all that. But, I wouldn't want to be with no guy that had already been married and stuff like that. I kind of still don't want to be with somebody like that. Really, kind of. You know what I mean? But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like they say, when you get to a certain age, you can't be like that because, after a certain point, everybody has had those experiences. You know what I mean?
They go, there's no good men out there. It's not that there's no good men. It's like, lady, you're pushing everyone away with your bad personality.
And not even that. They say, well, that's what men are going to say. That men are telling you your personality sucks. And that's why people don't want to be with you. But also, I have to always throw in there that a lot of the times, the reason why you keep getting the same whack type of man every time is because the frequency that you are on. You're only going to attract a certain kind of person to your frequency. You probably will attract somebody below it, but I doubt you're going to attract somebody at a higher frequency that wants to be bothered with somebody on a lower frequency, because you're just they have to come down to meet you on your frequency. And most people on a high frequency are not going to do that. You understand? You're going to be like noise to them. You're going to be like, I'm sorry, you're just beneath them. When people say, oh, that's beneath me, it is. It just means that frequency is beneath your frequency and you don't really want to go down to it. You understand? I feel like the only person you may lower your frequency for is your damn kids. You know what I'm saying? And you really don't want to do that neither. You know what I'm saying? You really want to try to raise your kids where you try to raise them in a high frequency all the time. You know what I mean? You don't want to get in those low frequencies because your kids will come down to it with you. You understand? I mean, I feel like that's the only problem that's in relationships, that people are just they're not evenly yoked. They're not on a proper frequency with each other. And that's the problem. It's nobody's fault really, but if you want to do better, then you just have to elevate your frequency. And you'll see that you'll attract better people, not just relationships, because relationship, that's great and everything, but there's so many other relationships that you have, whether it's at work, with your family, with your kids, and if you elevate your frequency, all of that will improve. Even just how strangers react to you, everything will change for the better just by you working on yourself. And you can't take old shit into your new relationships, especially in a brand new relationship with somebody new that you don't know. You cannot compare. Like, she got on there and said, her bad experience. Nobody wants to hear that. You understand? Then don't date until you're healed from that. You know what I mean?
You need to go to therapy. You need to get over where the fuck happened and not go into every relationship thinking everything is going to replicate that just because there's certain commonalities.
That's like one dude. That was one dude.
Yeah. If you don't feel like a priority with somebody who has a child, it's not because the child. It's because they don't like you that much.
Oh, and I don't want you around that.
That is true, because people will make time for what they want to make time for. And as a single parent, there have been men that I made room for, and spent time with them on the weekends and stuff like that. Once my son got older, when my son was small, no, because I had to spend my time with my son. I worked during the week. The weekends was for me and my child. So no, it would be very rare. I dated a guy that had a child, and we would get together on the weekends and do stuff with our kids. But other than that, I was pretty undateable. Now my son's older and it's different. So, but
I don't want to be. If I got a kid,
Yeah.
and you act like that, like you're competing with my kid, it's a wrap. You're not there. You're donezo. I can never show you my kid.
I'm gonna take it a step further. If someone has a child and they're making an effort with you, that means that they're treating you like even more of a priority than someone who doesn't have a child. And I'll explain why. When you have a kid, you have certain responsibilities that are pretty consistent, and it's gonna happen on a cyclical manner. Then you have your job and whatever you have
I like how he explains this, because it's exactly like this when you have kids.
to do to support the situation. That means your free time is only allotted to so much. So if someone's taking that free time, and because they're not gonna have much of it, and they're spending it with you, that means they are truly prioritizing you in their leisure time. That's big.
Exactly. So she's thinking that, they have to not spend time with their kids and give her the time. Or so I don't understand what she's saying, because if somebody that has kids is giving you the time of day, they really like you. I'm just letting you know, okay? Or they're not a good mother or a good father, and they don't care about their kids. But somebody that is a good parent that takes time out to get to know you, they really do like you. I'm just telling you. So if you're considering dating somebody that have kids and you wonder, that's how you know. Because if it's a good parent that they put their child first, and they're going to take time out their busy life, because it's a hectic, busy life when you're a single parent, to date you and to try to get to know you, they really do like you. So just know that.
Whereas if I got no responsibilities, I spend 3 days with you, it don't mean that you're that much of a priority. I just have ample free time.
There you go.
If that person really liked you, they would have tried. They just didn't like you that much. Unless they got 7 kids or something, then maybe you have a case. But
now here's a man telling you the truth, and I agree with him. I totally agree. People make time for what they want to make time for, and I love the fact that he said, "Oh yeah, I spent 3 days in a row with you just because I had the time. That don't mean I really liked you like that." You understand? That's why men cheat. They might live with you all the time and still go out and be with somebody else. You understand what I'm saying? Because they don't like you that much.
I do. Let's just keep going.
I feel like I'm like a little bit, I don't know.
On guard.
Can I say something towards
Yeah.
that? Like, for me, it's God first, and then my wife, and then the kids. So.
Fuck that phone. I just wanted to say, I'm an honorary Christian. Bro. I walk up in churches and people are like, "Yo, tea, wine, and bread. What's up, bro?" I'm like, "Thank you, I appreciate that."
Tea, wine, and bread.
Yeah.
Tea. You are so proud.
God first. Stop playing with me.
You're obviously a bright, shining light. You walk in, you light up the room, right? Your personality is great. But I think that when you're in a situation like this, we've got to start with honesty. But
Cool.
I really enjoy the way you're put together. I love the colorful demeanor.
I think he's talking about that shimmy.
I love a comedian.
So we see you popped for the
Yes.
That shit was colorful.
So that's it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just want to preface one thing.
Yeah.
I do a lot of brand deals.
Oh, shut your ass up. We're not here to shit your PR. And if you lose a brand because you're 36 instead of 32, then fuck that brand. Stop being a goddamn loser. Just own it.
I do an age range. So that's
Right.
why I really didn't want my age on the internet. I
No,
do an
it's
age
understandable.
range.
Of course. Yeah. There's nothing wrong
If I
with it.
was
It's just-
dating you, you could definitely know
Right.
my age. Just letting
Yeah.
you know.
Okay.
But the internet, like with like working with certain brands and
Right.
stuff.
Listen, it's so easy to find out anything you want to find out about anybody. If there's a brand out there and they want to know your age, you think they can't find out? You understand? Most brands, they're going to really research you before they attach you to their brand. So they probably already know how old she is.
Like,
and you know what? I'll say this. If that was really a thing for you and you couldn't disclose your age, fine. Don't ask nobody about their age or don't fucking mention it. That's all I got to say. What about you? Did you like this episode?
It was a good episode.
I'd prefer if you just shimmied so I can kind of get a good
Oh, I'm
idea.
sorry. Yeah.
There you go.
It's just once you walked in, it was too much. It was right too much. But that was me.
That's a preference.
I don't think I have.
You're not ready for that Afro-Nubian energy.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Stop.
I was impressed with her age.
I don't have a high tolerance for when it's too much and stuff like that. Like I want it to be my piece. And you like that? Mm-hmm. That I don't mind. That's my shit, right? If you gotta shimmy, fucking do it right.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But don't just just you know what I mean? If you gotta shimmy,
Yo, can someone replicate that GIF with Shaq and the cat?
yeah,
And then you just got the cat in the back wiggling.
yeah.
Do the same thing.
I love a comedian.
So we see you popped for the
All right, anyways.
Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, that's all.
shit's dope.
Let us know what you guys think in the comments.
So that was fun. That was fun. It was good to laugh and have a little kiki tonight. Because Lord knows everything that's going on out there was too much for me today. And I was not even feeling it. It's late me getting on here. It's 11:30. This is very late for me. I stayed in bed till about 4 p.m. Then I got up and did like a 7-mile bike ride. And then now I'm coming on here late. But, I just wanted to come on here with something lighthearted that still proved the point in elevating our frequencies. Please discharge, and this is for men and women, please discharge all your childhood traumas, all of your past relationships and all the messed up things you've been through before you get with a new person, because you're just going to project all that shit on them. You're going to have a toxic ass relationship, and it's just too much. It's way too much. You understand? And I'm single, and I'm kind of happy like that. I would love to be with somebody, but again, I just haven't met that right person on my frequency. Now, I met a lot of people when I was on a lower frequency, and I met a lot of low frequency people, and I just didn't want that toxic lifestyle. So over the years, I really worked on myself. And like I said, I spent a lot of time, being a mother to my son. Like, that was just the most important man to me at that time. Now that he's older and stuff like that, I try to date or whatever, just still haven't got that connection like I want. But, I would just like to see us all elevate our frequency, especially in our community. I would love to see the relationships work better, the families be stronger and whatever. And I just feel like it just starts with, instead of saying, oh, all men are dolls, all women ain't shit or whatever. It's like, look at yourself and see what you can do to better yourself so that a better person, will want to rock with you. That's basically what I took out of watching that today. And like I said, I really always liked the guy's perspective, because I just don't think, she was very shocked that nobody wanted to date her, and I feel like she was feeling very embarrassed when they told her why. And I feel like, it's truth for a lot of us that, we put our value higher than what it really is. Like, a lot of women want a lot, but they don't really bring anything to the table. I wouldn't want my son to date mostly half of the women I see on this show. Really, I just hope that, things change, but I just feel like it's just getting worse and worse and worse, the image of Black women and men too. You understand? And I feel like in order to elevate our frequencies, it starts with elevating our frequency, working on yourself to get that higher vibration. You understand? One thing that, I go out of my way to do, I don't care how I'm feeling, I'll always force a smile out. You understand? Because when you smile, the world smiles with you. So that's one way that you could start. You understand? And then it's letting go of the past, letting go of all relationships, and just really trusting that. What helped me the most is, just like I said, knowing that everything happens for a reason, a season, and a lifetime, and that most of the people that come into your life are just for a lesson. For a lesson, to teach you something, and show you something about yourself, or vice versa, or whatever. And it's very rare that any people come into your life for a lifetime. It's very rare. Even some of your family is not for a lifetime. You understand? Some people, their parents are not for a lifetime, whether they pass away or they're just terrible parents or whatever. So don't expect so much out of people. Don't even expect so much of yourself, you know what I'm saying? Because nobody's perfect, and we all have flaws, and we all have things we need to work on. So just know that if you focus on that, and know that most of the people that come into your life are just going to come and go. What lesson are they going to teach me? What can I show them? You know what I'm saying? And then the people that are there for the lifetime, you never know who they are. You never know until the end of your life who were the people that were there for your lifetime. So don't worry about that. Really just try to enjoy your life, learn all the lessons that you're going to learn, and just take everything one day at a time. You know what I mean? Enjoy the moment. And that's what I had to learn. So I'm going to go now, you guys. It was so nice being on here on a lighthearted topic, and I hope it was of help to you. And if it was, like, share, and subscribe to this channel. I love you. If you're watching this, this means I love you in sign language. And if you sat through this, I do. And I appreciate you. I'm going to go now. I am Shelly B. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.